Walk onto any used car lot in America today, and you will see them lined up near the back fence. Sedans, four doors, no lift kit, no roof rack, no adventure lifestyle decal on the rear window. Nobody is taking pictures of them for Instagram. Nobody is asking the salesman to pull one around front. And that is exactly why you should be paying attention. I have been a mechanic for 23 years, and I'm telling you right now, there are sedans sitting on lots for under $7,000 that will outlast every SUV parked next to them. Today, I'm counting down 5 forgotten sedans that were built like tanks, and I saved the best for number 1 because that car is the single most undervalued vehicle in the entire used market. Let us get into it. Starting at number 5 is a car that most people have completely written off because of the badge on the trunk, the Buick LaCrosse from 2010 to 2016. Yes, Buick, I know what you are thinking. Your grandfather drove one. That is the point. Your grandfather drove one because your grandfather was not stupid. He wanted a car that rode like a cloud, started every morning, and never left him on the side of the road. And that is exactly what this thing does. Under the hood of the LaCrosse from 2010 to 2016 is the 3.6-liter LFX V6, a naturally aspirated engine that GM has put in millions of vehicles, including the Chevrolet Impala, the GMC Acadia, and the Cadillac SRX. It produces 304 horsepower, uses a timing chain instead of a belt, and runs on regular fuel. I have seen these engines go well past 250,000 miles with nothing but oil changes and a set of spark plugs at 100,000 miles. There is no turbocharger to fail, no direct injection carbon buildup on the intake valves because later versions use both port and direct injection together, and no continuously variable transmission anywhere near it. The 6-speed automatic behind this engine is the GM6T70, and while it is not perfect, it is well understood by every transmission shop in the country, and a rebuild runs about $2,200 installed, which is less than half the cost of replacing a modern ZF unit in a BMW. A few months ago, a retired postal worker brought me his 2013 LaCrosse with the 3.6-liter V6 and 174,000 miles on it. He had bought it 4 years earlier for $6,100. I went through the whole car. Suspension was tight. Engine compression was within spec on all 6 cylinders. Transmission shifted clean through every gear. The leather seats still looked like they belonged in something twice the price. I told him to keep driving it and stop worrying. Current market price on a 2013 to 2016 LaCrosse with under 130,000 miles is between $5,000 and $8,500 depending on trim. A Lexus ES 350 from the same year with comparable miles is going for $14,000 to $18,000. You are getting 90% of the same experience for half the money because nobody wants to tell their friends they drive a Buick. When you inspect one, check the timing chain stretch. Some early 3.6-liter engines from 2010 to 2011 had chain wear issues that GM revised by 2012. Listen for any rattle on cold start. If it sounds clean after 5 seconds, you are good. Check the front struts for leaking because they wear out around 100,000 miles and run about $500 for a pair installed. If those check out, you have a highway cruiser that will run another 100,000 miles without drama. Number 4 is a sedan Honda sold by the millions, and somehow the used market still treats it like leftovers. This is the Honda Accord V6, offered from 2008 to 2012. I am specifying the V6 because while the 4-cylinder Accord is a perfectly fine car, the V6 version is a different animal entirely. The J35 series V6 in these Accords produces 271 horsepower and will pull away from traffic in a way that makes passengers grab the door handle. It is the same engine family Honda used in the Odyssey, the Pilot, and the Acura TL. The engine is naturally aspirated. It uses a timing belt that needs replacement around 105,000 miles, and it has port fuel injection that does not cause carbon buildup problems. I have personally worked on J35 engines with over 280,000 miles that still had cylinder compression within factory spec. A high school shop teacher brought me his 2009 Accord XL V6 last year. He had 211,000 miles on it. He bought it 8 years ago with 94,000 miles for $7,200. In 8 years of ownership, he had replaced the timing belt and water pump at 105,000 miles for about $900, put in one set of front struts, and changed the brake pads twice. That was it. The car still drove like it had 60,000 miles on it. He asked me if he should trade it in on something newer. I told him he would be a fool to let it go. Now, here is the one thing you need to know. The 2008 to 2012 V6 Accord came with either a 6-speed manual or a 5-speed automatic. The manual is bulletproof. The automatic is solid, but Honda recommends changing the transmission fluid every 30,000 miles, and most owners completely ignore that. If you find one where the previous owner followed the maintenance schedule, you have a transmission that will go 250,000 miles without complaint. If the fluid was never changed, you are rolling the dice after 150,000 miles. Check the fluid. If it is dark brown or smells burnt, walk away or negotiate hard and budget $2,800 for a rebuild. Current pricing on a 2008 to 2012 Accord V6 with under 130,000 miles runs between $5,500 and $9,000. A same year Toyota Camry V6 with comparable miles is going for $9,000 to $13,000. Mechanically, they are equals in my shop. The price gap exists purely because Toyota has better resale mythology. When you inspect one, check for a slight vibration at idle, which can indicate worn engine mounts, a $400 fix. Look at the front brake rotors for warping because V6 Accords are heavy and aggressive drivers cook the brakes, and verify the timing belt service was done. If it was and the fluid is clean, buy it and drive it for the next decade. Number 3 is a sedan that gets absolutely zero attention from anyone under the age of 40, and that is a shame because it is one of the most over-engineered cars Toyota ever sold in America. The Toyota Avalon from 2005 to 2012. The Avalon is what happens when Toyota builds a full-size sedan and then decides to make it nearly indestructible. Under the hood is the 2GR FE 3.5-liter V6, the exact same engine that powers the Lexus ES 350, the Lexus RX 350, the Toyota Highlander, and the Toyota Camry V6. If you have watched any of my other videos, you already know this engine. It is widely considered one of the most reliable V6 engines in automotive history. It is naturally aspirated with port fuel injection and a timing chain. There is no turbo and no direct injection carbon issues. I have seen these engines exceed 300,000 miles on original internals with nothing but oil changes. The 5-speed automatic in the earlier models and the 6-speed automatic in the later ones are both proven units that last as long as the engine when the fluid is maintained. If this kind of content is helping you make smarter decisions, do me a favor and hit subscribe. I put out videos every week breaking down the vehicles dealerships do not want you to know about. Now, back to the Avalon. A retired nurse came into my shop 2 years ago, driving a 2007 Avalon Limited with 196,000 miles. She had bought it new. In 17 years of ownership, her unplanned repair costs totaled under $2,400. That included a starter motor, a water pump, one set of struts, and a power window motor. Everything else was routine maintenance. Brakes, oil, tires, filters. That works out to roughly $140 a year in unexpected repairs on a full-size luxury sedan. There is nothing in the SUV market at any price that touches that number. The interior on a loaded Avalon Limited rivals what Lexus was putting in the ES at the same time, because it essentially is the same car. Leather seats, dual-zone climate, a quiet cabin that makes highway driving effortless. The ride quality is softer than anything in its class. This car was designed for people who wanted to eat up interstate miles in silence, and it delivers. Current market pricing on an Avalon from 2007 to 2012 with under 130,000 miles is between $5,000 and $9,000. A same year Lexus ES 350 with comparable miles is $10,000 to $16,000. You are buying the same powertrain, the same reliability, and 90% of the same interior experience for roughly half the price, because the Avalon does not have the Lexus badge. When you shop for one, check the front struts for leaking, and check the sway bar end links for clunking. Both are common wear items, around 120,000 miles, and both are cheap to fix. Check the VVT oil line on 2007 to 2010 models. Toyota issued a service bulletin for a rubber oil supply line that should be replaced with an updated metal version. If it fails, it can cause rapid oil loss and engine damage. Verify it has been done. If it has, you are looking at a car that will outlast most SUVs built this decade. Number 2 is the sedan that every mechanic I know respects, but nobody outside the industry seems to care about. The Lexus ES 350, produced from 2007 to 2012. I know I just compared the Avalon to this car and told you the Avalon was the better value. That is true on price, but the ES 350 earns its own spot because the build quality, the interior refinement, and the ownership experience are a step above. At current prices, it is still dramatically undervalued compared to what it actually delivers. The ES 350 uses the same 2 GFE 3.5-liter V6 as the Avalon, the same naturally aspirated design, the same timing chain, the same port fuel injection, and the same documented track record of going 300,000 miles on original internals. The difference is, Lexus wrapped it in better leather, added more sound deadening, refined the suspension tuning, and put their name on the quality control process. A financial planner in his early 60s brought me his 2010 ES 350 last year at 188,000 miles. He had owned it since 52,000 miles. His total repair spending outside of routine maintenance over 7 years was $1,100, one alternator at 161,000 miles, one set of engine mounts at 175,000 miles, and one rear wheel bearing at 183,000 miles. He asked me how much longer the car would last. I told him if he kept changing the oil every 5,000 miles and the transmission fluid every 60,000 miles, there was no mechanical reason it would not hit 300,000 miles. He smiled and said that was exactly what he wanted to hear. Current pricing on a 2010 to 2012 ES 350 with under 100,000 miles runs between $9,000 and $14,000. The same year, BMW 5 Series with comparable miles is in the same price range, but will cost you 3 times as much to maintain over the next 5 years. The ES 350 annual maintenance cost averages under $500. The BMW averages over $1,000. That is not opinion. That is shop data from thousands of vehicles. When you inspect one, check the same VVT oil line I mentioned on the Avalon. Same engine, same issue, same fix. Listen for any whine from the power steering at full lock. Check the dashboard for cracking on 2007 to 2010 models in hot climates. Toyota extended the warranty on that issue, and most have been replaced, but verify it. If everything checks out, you have a luxury sedan with Toyota reliability for the price of a base model Kia. And here it is. Number 1. The sedan I would buy tomorrow if I needed one vehicle to drive for the next 15 years and never think twice about. The Toyota Camry V6 from 2007 to 2011. I can already hear people in the comments saying the Camry is boring. Good. Boring is what keeps you out of my shop. Boring is what gets you to 300,000 miles on original engine internals. Boring is what lets you spend money on your life instead of your car. The 2007 to 2011 Camry V6 runs the 2 GRFE, the same 3.5-liter V6 I have been talking about in the Avalon and the ES 350. By now you know what this engine is. Naturally aspirated port fuel injection, timing chain, 268 horsepower, and a documented history of extreme longevity that no other manufacturer in this price range can match. But here is why the Camry gets the #1 spot over its more expensive siblings. It is the cheapest way to get this powertrain into your driveway, and the Camry platform has the largest parts availability, the most mechanics familiar with it, and the lowest repair costs of any vehicle running this engine. A plumber I have known for 15 years bought a 2008 Toyota Camry SE V6 with 89,000 miles for $5,800 back in 2019. He drives it to job sites every day, hauls tools in the trunk, and puts about 22,000 miles a year on it. It now has 243,000 miles. In 6 years of hard daily use, he has replaced the front struts, the water pump, one oxygen sensor, and the brake pads twice. Total repair cost outside of routine maintenance is under $1,600. He told me last month he plans to drive it until the frame rusts out from under him, and given that he lives in Georgia, that might take another 20 years. Current market pricing on a 2007 to 2011 Camry V6 with under 120,000 miles runs between $5,000 and $8,500. You are looking at the most reliable powertrain in the sedan market, wrapped in a body that is invisible, forgettable, and worth every penny of its bargain price. When you shop for one, check the VVT oil line on 2007 to 2010 models, just like I said on the Avalon and the ES. Same engine, same bulletin, same fix. Check the front strut mounts for clunking over bumps. Inspect the exhaust manifold for any hairline cracks which can cause a ticking noise on cold starts. And verify the transmission fluid has been changed at least once. If those items check out, you are holding the keys to the single best value sedan in America. A car that will outlast any SUV on the road, costs almost nothing to maintain, and will still be running long after every crossover on the lot has been recycled into soda cans. So there it is. 5 sedans the market has completely forgotten about. The Buick LaCrosse with its 3.6-liter V6 and luxury highway manners for the price of a cheap laptop. The Honda Accord V6 with one of the greatest engines Honda ever built. The Toyota Avalon, a full-size Lexus in disguise that nobody wants because of the name. The Lexus ES 350 with the lowest maintenance costs in the luxury sedan market. And the king of the list, the Toyota Camry V6, the cheapest way to own the most bulletproof powertrain in automotive history. None of these sedans will turn heads in a parking lot. None of them sit 6 inches off the ground on all-terrain tires. What they have is something the modern auto industry has completely forgotten how to sell. Engineering that lasts, wrapped in a price tag that makes no sense. Next time a salesman tries to put you in a $45,000 SUV with a turbocharged engine and a 4-year loan, remember what is sitting in the back row for a fraction of the cost. If this helped, hit that like button and subscribe. I have more videos coming on the vehicles that actually deserve your money. Take care of your car and it will take care of you. I will see you in the next one.